My ex cheated, broke my trust and destroyed our future, but now I'm thriving with my new wife and family, living a life I never thought possible after betrayal. Going over my history, I've been posting here for a while, so I thought I'd just add what happened to me to provide some context to what I wrote. Bear with me, it's been a while since I lived it, and I've chugged a bunch of caffeine because my 3-year-old was up all night with a pretty wicked cold. My first ex was a compulsive liar who, after we had been together approximately 2 years, posted wedding photos of her and a dude she met after me. That one was fun. Oddly enough, that one didn't hurt. It left me with no lingering feelings other than a sense of humor because, come on, the one that hurts was my ex after her. We met online, got on really well, and I moved 1,500 miles from home to be with her. My stuff was fresh off the truck when I was with her on her bed. We were spooning while watching the TV. She was texting, and I looked at it. She was texting the affair partner. He couldn't wait to introduce her to his parents, and she couldn't wait for it either. It's a strange thing to do and say when I'm right there, but okay. When I went to leave to go back to my apartment, I told her what I saw. She blew up, yelling, shouting all this nonsense about how dare I do such a thing, blah blah blah. I went home, didn't sleep, and went to her parents' house first thing in the morning, where we talked. She's still being a complete and utter piece of trash, so her dad took her to another room for a few minutes. When she came out, it was all tears, apologies, 1,000 hollow words. She swore to me that she cut him off, that she wouldn't see him, all this nonsense. The fun bit? They were classmates in a nursing program, so they spent all day together. I couldn't verify what they were and weren't doing. Note, this is why you'll see so many posts about them learning to be better at hiding it. She did. She hid it well. A little while after it, she told me that at school, he tried to kiss her, and that she rebuffed his advances. Okay, you were supposed to not be near him, whatever. Then the anger from her started to get really wild. Another classmate from school wanted to fight her. It turns out the affair partner and this classmate got it on, and she was jealous of my ex, and she was furious that I wasn't doing anything about it. This was the first I was hearing about it. I had no idea who this lady was, and her school was about an hour away from where we lived. It got worse and worse and worse. Also, she got really scared about getting pregnant, carried a bunch of pregnancy tests with her, sat me down a lot to tell me she might be pregnant. She had me drop her off at Planned Parenthood once for a checkup that took a few hours since she had no insurance, and apparently, they're good for that. I can't verify if it was on the up and up, but I remember getting angry because I've never waited that long for a doctor's appointment. Another fun bit was that she got placed at the retirement home a little drive from us, so she obviously had to stay at her brother's house once a week. I don't think she was doing that. Her brother lived one city over from the affair partner. I'm going to add, the affair partner looks eerily like me. He looks the way I'd look if I had never started lifting. That's a fun thing to think about, that she clearly has a type and still managed to affair down. Then November hit. She asked me to go on a drive and she told me she was thinking of dropping out of school, the one she met the affair partner at. I don't know with 100% certainty what the case was, but I do believe that he gave her an ultimatum between us, and that's why she left. Fine by me, I thought. I didn't know that she was obviously still seeing him. She was going to return to the school I was attending. We'd see each other more often. Cool beans. Then time moved on, and I honestly can't really remember anything suspicious going on. However, if you've made it this far, you've seen clearly I'm too trusting. She again dropped out of school, this time to work. Maybe something happened. Her behavior throughout this whole period got markedly worse. She was drinking often, maybe guilt from the affair, maybe she started a new one. I have absolutely no idea. We finally moved back to my hometown. I'm pretty confident that she reached out to her affair partner again. This time, I just remembered that she flew back to her hometown for a few days at this point to visit her sister for her birthday. Oh my god, the Glufio, you stupid son of a gun. Okay, so now something makes a little more sense. Her behavior leading up to the trip and afterward derailed. Lots of hostilities, lots of screaming, telling me that she's faking in bed and or thinking of other guys. After years of this, I'm beat down. I had zero self-esteem. She drained me of my life, my soul, my everything. She told me she's going back. Stupid me decided to join her, and then it got worse. She got a job working with her brother at a company just outside of town. I'm very confident that she's meeting the affair partner or someone else at this time. For me, the tipping point was that she wasn't answering her phone one night, coming home several hours after her shift at work because, allegedly, the custodial staff didn't show up. Right, okay. At this point, I'm getting hit, screamed at for any slight, real or imagined. She's telling me that our kids aren't going to be raised knowing anything of my culture, that of an immigrant, trying to make me sleep on the sofa, a dead bedroom for about 6 months at this point, finding mysterious stains in my car. And then she pulled this. This is when it really clicked that I don't need to be treated like this. I finally decided to grow a spine and tell her I'm done. It was a week after Valentine's Day that I left, I believe. I had my brother fly up to help me drive down. Lots of messages from her, oscillating from please come back, I'll do anything to just venting. I didn't do no contact, so I got to hear about her bringing men to the apartment we shared and nailing them to the bed we used to sleep on. Then she met a guy and said she was in love with him. This was maybe 2 months after I left. Then I remember playing Civ 5 and got a text message. It was her. She had just turned 8 weeks pregnant. Oh dang, 8 weeks before that was my birthday. Whatever, we weren't together anymore. She wanted me to hear it from her before she posted it on social media. Neato. I only found out who the dad was like 2 months after. It was the affair partner. No idea about the guy she was apparently in love with, but ripped to him because her declarations of love and then getting knocked up by the affair partner were incredibly close together. She and the affair partner are still together, married. They have 2 kids together. She's in the town she would cry to me over, her fear of being stuck there forever. I remember she was once crying about how she was afraid that when I went back to my parents' house, I would revert back to who I used to be. Which is a really funny statement because I'm still someone who has never cheated, and I grew so much after I cut her out of my life. Honestly, it's pretty remarkable how much better my life became after she was no longer in it. After a few years, lots of exciting and new experiences, I met my wife. A glorious woman, stunning, a heart of gold. A remarkable wife. A few years ago, she became a wonderful mother. Had I stayed, I never would have met my wife, had my kids, started this company that gives me a lot of freedom. We're closing on our new house next week. My ex hated the idea of me doing anything or displaying ambition. My wife cheers me on continuously. I remember the joy in my ex's voice when she said how happy she was that I gave up on my dream of going to law school. My wife encouraged me to go and cheered me on every step of the way until I dropped out because it turns out I really hated it. My ex hated the idea of leaving the country. My wife and I honeymooned outside the US and cruised a lot. I won. I don't know if there's a polite way to say it, but I really did. My life is so much better than it was then that it's incredible to think about how far I've come. I've made so many great new memories, met great new people, and my life really has turned around in ways I never thought possible. To wrap this up, I suppose things aren't all too great for them because my ex, since she reached out a year ago to, I guess, try and make amends with me, apologized for all the things she said and did, and told me that there's a place in her heart for me because I was her first love. Oh well, sucks to suck, am I right? That's the thought that flits through my mind when I think about my ex, Rachel, and the life she's chosen. A life tethered to the affair partner who dragged her into the mess that ended us. Her attempt to make amends last year, with her half-hearted apology and nostalgic talk of me as her first love, was a pathetic reach across the chasm of her own making. I didn't respond, didn't need to. My life now, with my wife Elena, our 3-year-old daughter Lila, and a second child on the way, is a testament to how far I've come since Rachel's betrayal. I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. Building a future so bright it eclipses the pain of those dark years. Her apology was too little, too late, and I'm done letting her shadow touch my joy. The memory of Rachel's affair still stings, but it's a dull ache now, not the raw wound it was when I first saw those texts on her phone, just days after moving 1,500 miles to be with her. I'd uprooted my life, left friends and family behind, to build a future with the woman I met online, whose late-night chats and shared dreams had felt like destiny. We'd clicked instantly, our banter easy, our connection deep, or so I thought. That moment on her bed, spooning while she texted her affair partner, Ethan, about meeting his parents, was a gut punch that shattered my trust. Her explosion when I confronted her, her hollow tears and promises to cut him off, were just the opening act in a drama that dragged on for years, eroding my self-esteem until I barely recognized myself. Looking back, the red flags were neon. Rachel's nursing program put her in daily contact with Ethan, a classmate who looked like a weaker version of me. Same build, same features, but softer, less driven. Her claims that she'd rebuffed his advances, that another classmate's jealousy was proof of her loyalty, were lies so flimsy I'm embarrassed I believed them. The pregnancy scares, the hours-long checkup at Planned Parenthood, the weekly stays at her brother's house near Ethan's city, it all screams deceit now. Her behavior grew erratic, her anger explosive, her accusations wild. She'd scream that she was faking in bed, thinking of other men, while I shrank under the weight of her cruelty. The mysterious car stains, the late nights at work, the trip to her hometown that sparked a new wave of hostility. It was a pattern of betrayal I was too trusting to see. The tipping point came a week after Valentine's Day, 3 years into our relationship, when I finally grew a spine. Her refusal to answer her phone after a late shift, her claim that custodial staff issues kept her hours past closing, was the last straw. I was done being hit, screamed at, belittled, forced to sleep on the sofa in a dead bedroom. I told her I was leaving, called my brother to help me drive back to my hometown, and walked away from the apartment we'd shared, the life I'd tried to salvage. Her messages flooded in, pleas, rants, boasts about bringing men to our bed, but I kept my distance, refusing to let her chaos pull me back. When she texted about her pregnancy, 8 weeks along, timed suspiciously close to my birthday, I felt nothing but relief that I was gone. Learning it was Ethan's child, that they'd married and had another, only cemented my decision. She was his problem now. Moving home was a reset, but it wasn't easy. I was a shell of myself, my confidence shattered, my trust in others, and myself, gone. I leaned on my family, especially my mom, who fed me comfort food and listened to my rants without judgment. My brother, who'd driven me out of that toxic life, became my wingman, dragging me to bars and gym sessions to rebuild my spirit. I started therapy, a no-nonsense woman named Dr. Lee, who helped me unpack the gaslighting and abuse. You didn't fail, she said. You loved someone who wasn't capable of loving you back. It took months to believe her, but I started to see the truth. Rachel's betrayal was about her flaws, not mine. I threw myself into new experiences, determined to reclaim my life. I traveled, solo trips to Europe, group hikes in Colorado, finding joy in the world again. I picked up woodworking, crafting furniture for my new apartment, each piece a tangible proof of my growth. I reconnected with old friends, joined a soccer league, and started a side hustle coding apps, which eventually grew into my own tech company. The freedom of being my own boss, of building something from scratch, was intoxicating. It was during one of those soccer games, 2 years after leaving Rachel, that I met Elena. Elena was a revelation, stunning, with dark eyes that saw right through me, and a heart so kind it disarmed my defenses. She was a pediatric nurse, passionate about her work, with a laugh that made my chest ache in the best way. We bonded over shared goals, family, adventure, authenticity, and a mutual hatred of cilantro. Our first date, at a hole-in-the-wall taco joint, stretched into hours of conversation, and I knew I was falling. Unlike Rachel, Elena was honest, direct, no games. She'd been through her own heartbreak, a fiancé who'd ghosted her, and understood the scars I carried. We took it slow, building trust brick by brick, and when she moved in a year later, it felt like coming home. Our wedding, 3 years ago, was everything my life with Rachel wasn't. Joyful, real, surrounded by people who loved us. Elena walked down the aisle in a simple white dress, her smile brighter than the sun, and I cried like a sap. We honeymooned in Iceland, chasing waterfalls and northern lights, a far cry from Rachel's disdain for leaving the country. When Lila was born, I felt a love so fierce it rewrote my past. Elena's pregnancy with our second child, due next spring, has only deepened that bond. Closing on our new house next week, a 4-bedroom with a big yard for Lila to run in, feels like the final piece of a puzzle I didn't know I was solving. Rachel's attempt to reach out last year, with her apology and talk of first love, was a jarring reminder of how far I've come. She said she was sorry for the lies, the screaming, the betrayal, but it felt like a performance, a way to ease her guilt. I didn't respond, not out of anger, but because she's irrelevant now. Dr. Lee helped me see it. Her apology is for her, not you. You don't owe her closure. I've learned Rachel and Ethan are still together, with 2 kids, living in the town she once feared being stuck in. Her Instagram paints a happy picture, but I know better. Her life is built on the same lies that broke us. I don't wish her ill, but I don't care enough to wish her well either. My life with Elena is the opposite, built on truth, mutual respect, and a love that grows stronger every day. She cheers my ambitions, from launching my company to trying and failing at law school, which I dropped out of because, yeah, it sucked. She's my partner in every sense, co-parenting Lila with a patience and joy that makes me fall for her all over again. When Lila was up all night with a cold, Elena was right there soothing her, while I made tea and tried not to panic. We're a team. And that's something Rachel could never give me. I've reflected a lot on why I stayed with Rachel so long, why I ignored the red flags, her volatility, her lies, her need to control. I was too trusting, yes, but also too afraid of being alone, of admitting I'd failed. Dr. Lee calls it sunk cost fallacy, the idea that I'd invested so much I couldn't walk away. I've learned to trust my gut now, to see lies for what they are. With Elena, there's no need for suspicion. She's an open book, and I'm learning to be one too. I've told her everything about Rachel, not to dwell, but to honor the transparency we've built. The affair partner, Ethan, looking like a weaker me, is a detail that still amuses and unsettles me. Rachel had a type, sure, but she chose a downgrade, A man who'd cheat, lie, and drag her into a life she once despised. Their marriage, their kids, it's their story now, not mine. I've let go of the need to understand why she did it, why she stayed with him. Dr. Lee says closure comes from within, and I've found it in my new life. Lila's giggles, Elena's hand in mine, the keys to our new house. I've also grown in ways Rachel never wanted. She hated my ambition, mocked my dreams, while Elena pushes me to soar. My company's success, giving me freedom to work from home and be present for Lila, is a direct result of that support. I've traveled, learned Spanish, run a marathon, things the old me, beaten down by Rachel, couldn't imagine. I'm not perfect. I still struggle with trust, still flinch when Elena's phone buzzes late at night. But I talk to her about it, and she listens. No defensiveness, just love. That's the difference. Rachel's betrayal taught me hard lessons about trust, boundaries, self-worth. I'm a better husband, father, and man because of it, not despite it. When I look at Lila, sleeping soundly now after her cold, I know I'd endure it all again to get here. My ex's life, her regrets, her place in her heart for me, it's irrelevant. My heart's full, with a family, a home, a future I've earned. Sucks to suck, Rachel, but I'm too busy winning to care. Moving on, my wife is upset I don't trust her and is having second thoughts about the baby. My 27-year-old male wife, Amy, 30-year-old female, had an infidelity episode. We've been together for almost 7 years, I believe, since college. We got married a year or so after. It's a long and frankly tiring story to repeat, but I'm aware my behavior needs context. To start, she lost weight, in her words, felt attractive for the first time in her life. She has always been pretty, but was mostly into the whole body positivity movement until we started losing weight due to a medical concern. She and her friends started showing themselves online to strangers behind my back, and my wife got addicted to the attention. When her friend tried to get her to calm it down as she started going too far, doing private cams, sexting, and accepting money from folks for private streams, she apparently didn't listen. I knew something was up with the lying, secrecy, gaslighting, and all that. But the final straw was overhearing a conversation between Mimi, dirty female, and Amy, where Mimi told her she was taking things too far and that she was going over the line. But I wasn't sure how or what it was about, and Mimi threatened to tell me herself if Amy didn't talk to me. I never thought at the time, but looking back, someone else would have considered this a sign that Amy was cheating on me with Mimi. I mean, they kind of were, but given our sexual history with Mimi, that was neither a question nor an alarm. I confronted Mimi while Amy was at work, telling her she and Amy could come get her stuff. Mimi spilled the beans and told me the fight was because Mimi, who wasn't off, warned Amy not to talk to people privately, do private cams or any of that, and she found Amy doing that behind her back. A particular fan was getting very insistent and offered Amy a huge chunk of money to do more. He had sent the money. Amy told Mimi that she had no intention of cheating, though she basically already was, and that she would just keep the guy's money, something like $5,000, as it was sent to her PayPal as a gift, and she never agreed to it. But she had been camming for the guy and sexting with him. To wrap up the recap, I was furious. I confronted my wife, heard her side of the story because we are definitely not hurting for money by even the most liberal stretch of the imagination. I found out from her that it had nothing to do with sexual gratification or wanting to duck other guys, which she claimed she didn't, or me, or my performance as a lover, or a partner. She had gotten addicted to the attention, the gratification, the fact that these people desired her enough to pay to see it and all that. I took my leave of the house for about 4 months, left the state, everyone went to therapy. We ended up deciding to reconcile, and it was a long process to get back to anything close to me not randomly feeling betrayed, angry, and disgusted. I will go on record saying Mimi and Amy's sister are both thin and attractive, but in my opinion, neither are as attractive as my wife, at least not to me. My wife is very pretty, just was a bigger girl. Since I've always encouraged her, shared my love for her, and never disparaged her weight, I was blindsided by her body issues, as she was always aggressively pro-big girls before this. Frankly, as a sexual being, I prefer my ladies to have some meat on their bones. My wife checked all my buttons, so I wasn't sure at first where all this self-loathing was coming from. I spent a lot of time angry and blaming myself before finding out the truth. She hid it from me because she didn't want to be one of those depressing fat girls and thought, apparently, if she didn't say anything, I would just keep on keeping on and not move on to anyone better. I asked if the fact that I loved her, married her, moved halfway across the country away from all my friends and family, bought her a huge house, and worked tirelessly to make her happy wasn't enough to show that I loved her. She told me that loving her and being attracted to her are two different things. Frankly, it is a nightmare dealing with my own hate and sense of betrayal and wanting to help my wife through this mental weight that has had her down her entire life, it seems. It's not easy, but I've been managing. Through therapy, honesty, and finding out some truths, I've come to terms with a lot of my wife's insecurities. None of it excuses her behavior, but I'll give some highlights. She was bullied by her thin sister most of her life for being big after being overweight killed their mother. I didn't know her stepmother was not their real mother until now. She had always been sore that I had liked her sister before we got together, and thought I settled for her, and thought that all my support, love, and encouragement was just what I had to do because I was stuck with the consolation prize. There are some more, but basically she spent the entire relationship feeling like a charity case or something. With that out of the way, the current situation, Amy is pregnant. Before you ask, yes, I got a paternity test as soon as it was viable. Things have been going well between us after a really rough time. Intimacy was hard for me. Even returning to my home took me time. Sleeping in the same room was a no-go for almost a year, but I feel like we've turned a corner. I'm not as certain that I'm an idiot waiting for my wife to betray me again. The problem was that things were going well, and Amy's worked hard and is doing all the right things, and has for quite some time. Now she's pregnant and emotional, and seemed to be very happy, though fussy about a lot of stuff. Randomly, she sat down while I was working and apologized again. She has been apologizing for a while like this, so I didn't think anything of it. She started crying and said she almost ruined us, and that she wants to be a good mom and a better wife. She lamented her actions and talked to me some more about her fears coming up. The fact that the videos she put online could come back to bite her at any time and may make her life miserable at any moment. She talked about how stupid she was and how sorry she was and how she's so happy that she was given another chance, how she knows she doesn't deserve it, or me, but that she is happy that I found it in my heart to not abandon her. I hugged her, and all was good for about a few seconds. She then said something that irked me. She said she was happy that I trusted her enough to try. I stopped because that was the first thing she said that felt wrong. It must have shown on my face, so she asked me what. I shrugged and told her thank you and said it's going to be difficult for everyone, but I've made the decision to try and make it work because I love her. She picked up on the evasive answer and asked me again what the problem was. I looked at her and told her that trust takes time. I then told her that once you break something, no matter how much you care to put it into gluing it back together, it will never be whole again. It will never be what it was. You lose flakes, little dust particles, pieces that make it what it was. And when you sit it down, even if you got it looking exactly like it should, you're careful because you know it can break easier the next time. Amy asked if that meant she's never going to live down what she did. I told her I didn't know, that I hoped so, but that's all I had was hope. She asked if that meant I would never trust her again. I told her I don't know. Trust takes time. Right now, I have hope that things will be better, but as far as faith and trust, I simply can't have faith, and I don't completely trust anyone anymore. I told her that statistically speaking, it was far more likely that she would cheat on me or betray me than that everything is good from now on. Most people who commit infidelities are repeat offenders, and most people who reconcile find out later that their spouse just got better at hiding their illicit activities. She found a reason. Wanted to lie to me, to betray me, to gaslight me, to put our entire relationship at risk, and it wasn't hard to find some justification. I told her the mind is an amazing tool, and that people can justify a lot of things. I hope we make it, and everything will be okay. I love her and have chosen to take the risk, but I'm not in a position to offer my trust, and I'm just not the kind of person who has strong faith in things I can't quantify. All the data is telling me I'm a fool, and having a child with her is probably a mistake I will end up sorely regretting. Forgiving a cheater seems to be, but I love her, and she seems sincere, so I'm betting against the odds. I hope the trust returns, but it takes time. In the meantime, she has all my hopes. She did not take this well at all. In fact, she started to ugly cry. I didn't know what to say to her, so I just held her. She then asked if I don't trust her, then am I ever happy about the baby? I told her yes, regardless of her or me, I'm going to love my kid no matter what. We certainly weren't trying for a baby, but I'm all on board with being a dad. She asked if I'm stupid for having a child with her. I answered that all evidence points to that being the case. I hope I'm not, but again, the odds are not in my favor. She took this even worse. She asked why not just have an abortion, why subject her to this if I don't have faith in us. I told her that faith isn't easy, and trust takes time. I got hope. That's about it right now, that it will take more time and we are just on the journey. Hopefully we'll get there together. Amy got quiet and then began sobbing. She left the room and locked herself in her office. I checked on her several times, but she was just crying. Then her mother came to get her, hugged me, and told me she would sort it out. Amy's been at her parents' house for 2 days. I've called. I'm hearing Amy is having second thoughts about the baby, though we are almost 4 months into the pregnancy. I've come by her house to drop off food I cooked for her, But Amy cries every time she sees me now, so I just give it to her father and leave. I'm being told that it's just hormones, and that everything will be okay. Amy's therapist is on vacation, and I can't wait for her to get back. What am I supposed to do here? I'm trying to be honest and supportive. I've had to balance my own feelings with hers for so long now, and now that she's pregnant, am I expected to get over it? Hey, you chose to reconcile, so you can't have those feelings anymore. The situation seems delicate, and I have all the tact of a rampaging elephant. What can I do here? How do I make this woman feel better without lying to her? Do I have to suck it up and pretend I don't have fears or doubts? I do. I'm scared shitless that the next time she's depressed, she'll do something crazy to make herself feel better. I also have nagging doubts in my head, given how most of these stories have ended on Reddit. I'm not ready to throw in the towel. I made my decision, I am reconciling, and we are having a baby. We are staying married, and I do love this woman with all my heart, but I do not trust her with that heart. I just need some advice on how to navigate these emotions. The weight of those words, fear, doubt, love, hope, sits heavy in my chest as I drive back from Amy's parents' house, a Tupperware container of her favorite lasagna now in her father's hands. The car is quiet, save for the low hum of the radio, and my mind is a storm. Amy's been there for 3 days crying, questioning the pregnancy, pulling away from me. Her mother's assurances that it's just hormones feel like a flimsy lifeline, and her therapist's absence leaves me grasping for how to fix this. I'm trying to be honest, to balance my love for her with the pain of her betrayal, but my honesty seems to be breaking her. I'm 28, she's 30, and we're 4 months into a pregnancy that was supposed to be a fresh start. Instead, we're teetering on the edge of something I can't name, and I'm terrified of losing her, our baby, and the fragile hope I've clung to since we reconciled. I pull into the driveway of our house, too big, too quiet without her, and sit there, hands gripping the wheel. The past year flashes through my mind, the discovery of Amy's online escapades, the private cams, the sexting, the $5,000 she kept from that obsessive fan. Her confession that it wasn't about sex but about validation, about feeling desired after a lifetime of self-loathing. My 4 months away, crashing with my brother in Colorado, wrestling with rage and guilt. The therapy sessions, hers and mine, where we peeled back layers of her insecurities, her sister's cruelty, her mother's death from obesity-related issues, her belief that I'd settled for her. The slow, painful process of moving back in, rebuilding intimacy, sleeping in separate rooms until I could bear to share a bed again. And now this pregnancy, a surprise that felt like a gift and a gamble all at once. I head inside, the house echoing with absence. Amy's yoga mat is still in the living room, her favorite mug on the counter. I start cleaning, a habit I picked up during those months away, when keeping my space tidy was the only control I had. As I scrub the sink, I replay our last conversation, the one that sent her spiraling. Her tearful apology, her gratitude for my forgiveness, her assumption that I trusted her again. My blunt response, that trust is broken, that I'm betting against the odds, that I'm scared she'll betray me again, felt necessary, honest, but seeing her face crumple, her sobs shaking her pregnant body, I wonder if I was too harsh, if my truth was a blade when she needed a bandage. I sit at the kitchen table, my laptop open, and start typing, a habit my therapist, Dr. Larson, suggested to process my feelings. I write about the fear that grips me every time Amy's phone lights up, the doubt that whispers she's hiding something, the love that keeps me here despite it all. I write about the baby, a tiny life I already love, whose paternity I confirmed not out of cruelty but necessity. I write about hope, fragile but stubborn, that we can make this work, that Amy's remorse is real, that trust can grow again. The words spill out, raw and messy, and when I'm done, I feel lighter, like I've named the chaos in my head. I call Dr. Larson, leaving a voicemail about the situation, asking for an emergency session. I need guidance, a way to navigate this without lying to Amy or burying my fears. I also text Amy's dad, checking on her, and he replies that she's calmer but still emotional, spending most of her time in her old bedroom. Give her space, he writes. She'll come around. I want to believe him, but the image of her crying, questioning the pregnancy haunts me. I cook another meal, chicken stir-fry this time, and plan to drop it off tomorrow. A small gesture to show I'm here, even if she's not ready to see me. The next morning I wake early and go for a run, something I started in Colorado to burn off the anger. The cool air clears my head, and I think about Amy's insecurities, how they drove her to seek validation online. I never saw her weight as a flaw, her curves were part of what I loved, but she saw herself through a distorted lens, shaped by her sister's taunts and her mother's loss. Therapy helped me understand that, but it doesn't erase the betrayal. Her secrecy, her gaslighting, her willingness to risk our marriage for strangers' attention. It's a wound that hasn't healed, and I'm not sure it ever will. I drop off the stir-fry at her parents' house, avoiding Amy's tearful gaze as her mom takes the container. She's struggling, her mom says, her voice soft. But she loves you. Keep trying. I nod, my throat tight, and drive to work, a software development job I've thrown myself into since returning. My team's building a new platform, and I lose myself in code, finding solace in its logic. My coworker Jake notices I'm distracted and pulls me aside at lunch. "Everything okay?" he asks. I hesitate, then tell him a sanitized version. "Amy's pregnant, we're having a rough patch." He claps my shoulder, says he's been there, that marriage is hard but worth it. I want to believe him, but the statistics I quoted to Amy, most cheaters relapse, most reconciliations fail, loom large. After work, I meet my friend Ryan for beers, needing a break from my head. Ryan's known me since college, saw me fall for Amy, stood by me when I left. I tell him about the fight, my honesty, Amy's reaction. "You were real with her," he says. "That's not wrong, but maybe soften the delivery next time." He's right. I'm blunt, analytical, and pregnancy hormones don't mix well with my data-driven fears. Ryan suggests writing Amy a letter, something to express my love and hope without the pressure of a face-to-face talk. I like the idea, a way to bridge the gap while she's at her parents'. That night, I sit at the table with a notebook, pen in hand. "Amy," I write, "I love you. I've always loved you. From the moment we met in that dive bar, dancing to bad 80 seconds music. Your betrayal hurt me, more than I can say, but I'm here because I believe in us, in the family we're building. I'm scared, and I don't trust easily anymore, but I'm trying. I want to trust you, to be the partner you deserve, the dad our baby needs. I'm not perfect, and I know my words hurt you, but they come from a place of honesty. I have hope, and I'm betting on us, even when the odds feel stacked against me. Please come home, let's do this together." I fold the letter, slip it into an envelope, and plan to give it to her dad tomorrow. The next day, Dr. Larson calls me back, and we have a phone session. I tell her everything, the fight, Amy's tears, the pregnancy doubts. "You're navigating a delicate balance," she says. "Your honesty is vital, but so is empathy. Amy's pregnant, hormonal, and carrying the guilt of her actions. She needs reassurance, not just hope, but a vision of what trust could look like." She suggests framing my doubts as a shared journey, not a verdict, saying we're rebuilding trust together instead of "I don't trust you." She also recommends couples counseling, something we paused when things improved, but clearly need again. I book a session with our old therapist, Dr. Evans, for next week, hoping Amy will agree to come. I drop off the letter and more food, homemade soup this time, at her parents' house. Her dad says she's reading, talking more but still emotional. She's scared, he says. She thinks you'll never forgive her. I nod, my heart aching, and tell him about the counseling appointment. He promises to pass it on. On the drive home, I think about forgiveness, a word I've wrestled with since Amy's betrayal. I've forgiven her enough to stay, to try, but not enough to forget. Dr. Larson says forgiveness is a process, not a switch, and I'm trying to live that, to let go of the anger without denying the hurt. The kids, Lily and Max, my imagined names for the baby if it's a girl or boy, keep me grounded. I've started a journal for them, separate from my therapy one, writing about my hopes, my fears, the man I want to be for them. "I'm messed up," I wrote last night, "but I'm fighting to be better. For you, for your mom, for me." It's a promise, a way to make this real even when Amy's doubts scare me. I've also been reading about parenting, books like The Whole Brain Child, trying to prepare for the chaos of a newborn. It's daunting but exciting, a reminder that life is moving forward even in this mess. I've reconnected with my family too, after isolating during our rough patch. My brother Nate calls from Colorado, checking in, and I tell him about the pregnancy, the fight. "You're doing the hard thing," he says. "Staying, fighting for her. That's strength." His words bolster me, and I plan a visit to see him next month, maybe with Amy if she's ready. My parents, retired and living in Florida, FaceTime me, excited about the baby, oblivious to our struggles. I don't tell them yet, not wanting their worry, but their joy is a light in the dark. Work's a refuge, but I'm careful not to overdo it. I've set boundaries. No late nights, no skipping runs or therapy. Jake and I start a coding side project, a fun app for tracking workouts, and it's a creative outlet, a way to feel alive outside my marriage. I've also picked up my old hobby of woodworking, sanding a small crib in the garage for the baby. It's rough, imperfect, but it's mine, a tangible act of hope. Amy comes home the next day, her eyes red but calm. Her mom drops her off, and we sit on the couch, the letter between us. "I read it," she says, her voice soft. "I'm sorry I freaked out. I want you to believe in me." I take her hand, tell her I do, that I'm scared but here, that we're in this together. She nods, tears falling, and agrees to counseling. We talk about the baby, her fears of the videos resurfacing, my fears of betrayal. It's raw, painful, but honest, a step towards something real. The next week we see Dr. Evans, and it's like coming home. She listens as we spill our fears, Amy's guilt, my distrust, our shared hope for the baby. Trust is a choice, she says, one you make daily, together. She gives us homework, daily check-ins, sharing one fear and one hope each night. It's awkward at first, but it helps, opening a channel we'd closed. Amy shares her fear of failing as a mom, her hope to be my partner again. I share my fear of being hurt, my hope that our child will know love. These moments, small but real, are building something new. The pregnancy progresses, and Amy's glow returns, despite the tears. We go to an ultrasound, see the baby's tiny hands, and I feel a surge of love, not just for the child, but for her, for us. We start decorating the nursery, painting it a soft green, hanging a mobile of stars. Amy's sister, thin and sharp-tongued, calls to apologize for her past cruelty, and Amy cries, a release of old wounds. I'm wary, but I see Amy healing, and it gives me hope. I've started a blog anonymously, sharing my story on the forums that helped me through the betrayal. I write about reconciling, the delicate dance of love and doubt, the hope of fatherhood. The responses are humbling, people saying I've given them courage, that they're trying again with their partners. It's a reminder that pain connects us, that healing is possible. I've also joined a local support group for betrayed spouses, meeting weekly to share stories, strategies, strength. One guy, Tom, reconciled like me, and his advice, focus on the present, not the past, sticks with me. Life isn't perfect. I still flinch when Amy's phone buzzes, still wake up some nights replaying her betrayal. But I'm learning to breathe through it, to choose hope over fear. Amy's trying too, transparent with her phone, consistent in therapy, loving in ways I'd forgotten. We're not the couple we were, naive and trusting, but we're becoming something else. Battle-tested, honest, real. Last night, we lay in bed, her head on my chest, the baby kicking between us. I'm scared, she whispered, but I'm glad it's with you. I kissed her forehead, told her I'm scared too, but we're together for the first time in months. I felt a flicker of trust, not full but growing, like a seed in spring. The road's long, the odds uncertain, but I'm here, betting on us, on our child, on a love that's bruised but alive, and that's enough for now.